The warning. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, her eyes fixed on the blue marble of Earth hanging in the void. The weight of the classified report in her hands felt heavier than any gravity well. They had finally decoded the quantum-encrypted transmission intercepted by the Kuiper Belt listening post, and its contents confirmed her worst fears. "They're all coming," she whispered to herself. "Every single one of them." The holographic display beside her flickered to life, showing Dr. James Okonjo's weathered face. As Earth's leading xenoanthropologist and the head of the Special Preparations Division, he was one of the few who understood the true scope of what was coming. The Council's decision was unanimous, James said, his voice carrying the weight of someone who had spent decades preparing for this moment. Every spacefaring civilization within 50 light-years has pledged ships and resources. They're calling it the Preservation Initiative. Sarah's lips curved into a bitter smile. Preservation. That's what they're calling our extinction. From their perspective, we're the threat, James replied. Our technological growth rate has exceeded their projections by several orders of magnitude. The quantum breakthrough last year was the final straw. The quantum breakthrough. Sarah remembered the day well. Humanity's first successful manipulation of vacuum energy at a macroscopic scale. What the rest of the galaxy didn't know was that it had been deliberately leaked, a carefully orchestrated revelation from decades of much more advanced research. "How long?" she asked. 3 months, maximum. The Arcturian fleet is already mobilizing, and the Centaurians won't be far behind. Sarah activated her neural interface, bringing up the classified schematics of Project Lighthouse. Scattered across Earth's solar system were thousands of seemingly dormant satellites and stations, a defensive network that had been under construction for the past 50 years, ever since first contact proved we weren't alone. "Is the Aegis shield ready?" James nodded. "Final calibrations are complete. The quantum entanglement network is stable across all nodes. When they come, they'll find Earth far different from what they expect." Sarah's attention was drawn to a subtle alert in her peripheral vision. The quantum sensors had detected the first signs of massive fleet movements at the edge of monitored space. Various species that had never cooperated before were now moving in concert. The crystalline, Sheth ships, the organic vessels of the Morrigan Collective, even the infamous world ships of the Vor Empire. "Have you informed the Council?" James asked. "Not yet. Let them finish the evacuation drills first." Sarah pulled up another holographic window, showing the massive underground cities that had been constructed beneath every major population center on Earth. The public still thinks these are climate shelters. The real truth was far more complex. Humanity had known this day would come ever since they recovered the crashed alien scout ship in the Atacama Desert 70 years ago. The ship's database had contained a thorough analysis of how advanced civilizations typically dealt with rapidly emerging technological competitors. But humanity had done something unprecedented. They had hidden their true rate of progress, maintaining a carefully crafted facade of being decades behind their actual capabilities. Every technological breakthrough that became public knowledge had been deliberately chosen, while the real advances remained hidden in classified facilities across the solar system. The preservation fleet will expect to find a civilization just beginning to grasp quantum mechanics, James said. Instead, they'll find one that has mastered it. Sarah nodded, her mind already running through the contingencies they had spent decades preparing. How many ships in total? Current estimates suggest over 10,000 capital ships, with support vessels numbering in the hundreds of thousands. James paused. It's the largest fleet ever assembled in recorded galactic history. All to destroy one planet, Sarah mused. They must be terrified of us. With good reason, James replied. Though not for the reasons they think. A new alert flashed across Sarah's vision. More movement detected, this time closer to home. The preservation fleet was beginning to coordinate their approach vectors, planning to converge on Earth from multiple directions simultaneously. Should we show our hand? Sarah asked. A demonstration of our true capabilities might give them pause. James shook his head. The time for deterrence is past. They've committed too many resources, burned too many diplomatic bridges. This ends one of two ways. Either humanity falls, or we reshape the galaxy's understanding of what we truly are. Sarah's gaze returned to Earth, seemingly peaceful and vulnerable in the void. But she knew better. Beneath that serene blue surface lay weapon systems and defensive capabilities that would have seemed like magic to humanity just a century ago. The Alien Alliance thought they were coming to preserve galactic stability by eliminating a potential threat. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity had spent so long hiding its true nature. Not out of fear, but out of hope that when this day finally came, they would be ready to demonstrate a better way. "Send the signal," Sarah commanded. "Operation Looking Glass begins now." Across the solar system, hidden quantum nodes began to power up, preparing for humanity's greatest revelation. The galaxy had united to destroy Earth, but humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment. The real question wasn't whether Earth would survive. The question was whether the galaxy was ready for what humanity would teach them about the true meaning of civilization. First strike. The preservation fleet's arrival shattered the silence of space with a display of force unprecedented in galactic history. 10,000 capital ships emerged from quantum space simultaneously, their hulls gleaming with weapons that could crack planets. Leading the formation was High Admiral Zixtal of the Arcturian Dominion, his crystalline form pulsing with anticipation. "Status report," he commanded, his thoughts resonating through the fleet's quantum network. "Earth's defensive capabilities appear minimal," his second-in-command responded. "Primitive satellite networks, a handful of lunar bases, and approximately 300 orbital defense platforms. Nothing that could withstand even a fraction of our fleet." Zixtal's crystalline structure flickered with what passed for amusement among his kind. The humans had progressed quickly, yes, but they were still centuries behind the galactic standard. Their destruction would be swift, merciful even. "Begin the primary attack sequence," he ordered. "Standard extinction protocol." Across the fleet, weapon systems powered up. Energy cannons capable of piercing planetary crusts aligned themselves with Earth's major population centers. Quantum disruptors prepared to unravel the very fabric of space around the planet's defensive installations. But in her command center deep beneath the Rockies, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the alien fleet's deployment with a calculated calm. Every move they made had been predicted, simulated, and prepared for over decades of careful planning. Their positioning exactly as expected, she noted to Dr. James Okonjo, who stood beside her monitoring quantum fluctuations across the solar system. "Their arrogance makes them predictable." "The human condition," James replied with a slight smile. "Always underestimating what they don't understand." Sarah activated her neural interface, connecting directly with Operation Looking Glass's command network. Across Earth's surface, billions of people were being quietly moved into the underground cities, an evacuation drill that was about to prove its true worth. "All population centers report ready," she announced. "Quantum shield network at full capacity. Shall we show them why humanity kept so many secrets?" James nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical displays showing the alien fleet's attack formation. "Let them fire first. Let history record that we gave them every chance to choose a better path." High above, Zixtal gave the command that would, in his mind, end the human threat forever. "Fire." Thousands of energy beams lanced toward Earth, each carrying enough power to vaporize a small country. The preservation fleet watched with cold satisfaction as their attacks struck home. And then something impossible happened. The beams hit what appeared to be empty space and simply vanished. No explosion, no impact, not even a flare of energy. It was as if their attacks had been swallowed by the void itself. "Impossible." Zixtal's crystalline form vibrated with shock. "Scanned the planet. What defense system could?" His words were cut short as new signatures appeared on their sensors. What had appeared to be simple communications satellites began to transform, quantum fields rippling around them as they revealed their true nature. The primitive orbital platforms shifted and changed, sophisticated weapon systems emerging from what had been clever camouflage. And in the space between Earth and the attacking fleet, reality itself seemed to bend and twist as humanity's quantum shield network fully activated. The very laws of physics were being rewritten in real time, creating a defense that made their most powerful weapons meaningless. "Now," Sarah commanded, her voice steady. "Show them what humanity can really do." Across the solar system, hidden quantum nodes activated in perfect synchronization. The network humanity had spent generations building came alive, each node connecting with its neighbors through quantum entanglement, creating a web of power that defied conventional understanding. The first counterattack struck the preservation fleet like a divine hand. Quantum-guided energy beams sliced through their supposedly impenetrable shields as if they were tissue paper. Whole squadrons of ships found themselves trapped in localized time dilation fields, their crews experiencing hours while seconds passed for everyone else. Impossible. Zixtal's crystalline form trembled with disbelief. Their technology. They couldn't have. We were watching them. That's right. Sarah's voice transmitted across all frequencies, reaching every ship in the alien fleet. You were watching exactly what we wanted you to see. While you study our public achievements, our real work remained hidden. We knew this day would come. We've spent generations preparing for it. The preservation fleet's formation began to break as more of humanity's defensive systems revealed themselves. What they had dismissed as simple asteroid mining operations turned out to be massive weapon platforms. Civilian research stations transformed into military strongholds before their eyes. "This is your only warning," Sarah continued, her voice calm but firm. "You came here expecting to find a primitive civilization that needed to be eliminated before it could threaten galactic stability. Instead, you found one that has already surpassed your understanding of what's possible. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge?" As if to emphasize her point, another wave of quantum attacks struck the fleet, this time with surgical precision. No ships were destroyed, but key weapon systems across the fleet simply ceased to exist, their quantum structures carefully unraveled. In his command ship, Zixtal faced a decision that would reshape galactic history. The humans hadn't just defended themselves. They had revealed capabilities that should have been impossible. And yet, despite their overwhelming advantage, they hadn't destroyed a single ship. Why? He transmitted back. "If you have this power, why hide it? Why not dominate?" Sarah's response was simple, because true civilization isn't about domination. It's about choice. Today, we're giving you one. The revelation. The quantum displays in Earth's command center painted a complex picture of the battle unfolding across the solar system. The preservation fleet, despite their initial shock, had begun to adapt. Several species had combined their technologies in ways never before seen, desperate to counter humanity's defensive systems. "They're learning," James observed, watching as the alien ships attempted to probe Earth's quantum shield network. "Adversity breeds innovation." Sarah nodded, a hint of admiration in her eyes. "That's exactly what we were counting on. Initiate Phase 3. Across the command center, operators engaged with their neural interfaces, activating the next stage of humanity's carefully orchestrated plan. The quantum shield network began to pulse with new patterns, not just defending against attacks, but actively reaching out to the alien fleet systems. In his crystalline command ship, High Admiral Zixtal watched in growing confusion as his fleet's quantum sensors began receiving massive amounts of data. It wasn't an attack. It was information. Scientific knowledge, technological blueprints, philosophical treatises, cultural archives. "What is this?" he demanded, his crystalline form resonating with uncertainty. "Understanding." Sarah's voice came through again. "You came here believing we were a threat because of how quickly we advanced. Now you're seeing why that advancement was possible." The data streaming to the alien fleet revealed the truth that humanity had kept hidden for so long. It showed how Earth's scientists had discovered a fundamental principle that the other species had missed: the quantum nature of consciousness itself. This discovery had revolutionized their understanding of technology, allowing them to progress in ways that seemed impossible to outside observers. "Your civilizations evolved separately," James added, his voice joining Sarah's in the transmission. "Each species discovered different aspects of quantum mechanics, different applications of universal laws. But humanity had a unique advantage. We were able to learn from all of you." The data showed how humanity had studied every piece of alien technology they could find, every transmission they could intercept. But instead of simply copying these advances, they had looked for the connections between them, the underlying principles that linked all sapient understanding of the universe. In the Morrigan Collective's organic ships, the living vessels themselves began to resonate with the implications of the human discoveries. The Vor Empire's sophisticated AIs started drawing conclusions that transformed their understanding of their own existence. Even the crystalline Arcturians found their rigid structures vibrating with new possibilities. "This is why we hid our true capabilities," Sarah explained. "Not out of fear, but because we needed to understand something crucial: how different species would react when faced with a civilization that had made a fundamental breakthrough in understanding the universe." The quantum shield network pulsed again, this time creating localized fields around key ships in the alien fleet. Inside these fields, the ship's crews experienced accelerated time, giving them hours to process and understand the information being shared, while only minutes passed outside. "You see," James continued, "humanity's greatest achievement wasn't technological. It was understanding that consciousness itself is a quantum phenomenon, one that connects all sapient beings at a fundamental level. Our apparent rapid advancement wasn't just about building better weapons or faster ships. It was about understanding the very nature of intelligence and its role in the universe." In his command ship, Zixtal's crystalline form shifted through complex patterns as he processed the implications. The humans hadn't just developed advanced technology. They had discovered a unified theory of consciousness and quantum mechanics that made their technological leaps possible. More importantly, they were freely sharing this knowledge instead of using it to dominate. "But why?" he transmitted. "Why reveal this now, when we came to destroy you?" Sarah's response carried a weight of certainty born from generations of preparation. "Because the galaxy is about to face a challenge that no single species can handle alone. We needed to know how the various civilizations would react when confronted with a paradigm shift in understanding. Your response to Earth's advancement was a test, one that's about to become crucially important." As if to emphasize her words, new quantum signatures began to appear at the edge of the solar system. These weren't weapons or defensive systems. They were sensors, incredibly advanced ones, that humanity had placed throughout nearby space. And they were detecting something that made the current conflict seem insignificant. "We've been detecting quantum anomalies from outside the galaxy," James explained. "Something is coming, something that will require all of our species working together, using this new understanding of consciousness and quantum mechanics. We needed to know if cooperation was possible, even in the face of fear and misunderstanding." The alien fleet hung in space, weapons still armed but no longer targeting Earth. The choice that Sarah had mentioned earlier became clear. This wasn't just about Earth's survival. It was about the entire galaxy's future and whether its diverse species could overcome their fears and prejudices to face a greater challenge together. In the command center, Sarah watched as the first signs of comprehension began to spread through the alien fleet. Ships began powering down their weapons, quantum communications buzzed with excited exchanges of information, and the first tentative attempts at joining Earth's quantum network began. "They're starting to understand," James said quietly. Sarah nodded, relief mixing with determination in her expression. "They are, but will they understand quickly enough? The anomalies are growing stronger, and what's coming won't wait for us to resolve our differences." Unity. The quantum displays in Earth's command center had transformed. Where once they showed battle formations and weapon alignments, they now displayed a complex web of communications between Earth and the former invasion fleet. The preservation fleet, built for destruction, was being repurposed for something far more important: survival. High Admiral Zixtal's crystalline form had taken on a new configuration as he directly interfaced with Earth's quantum network. These anomalies you've detected, they're like nothing we've ever encountered. Because they're not from our universe, Sarah explained, sharing detailed sensor data across the quantum link. The quantum signatures suggest they're bleeding through from somewhere else. Another dimension, perhaps, or a different version of reality altogether. The sensor data painted a disturbing picture. Massive distortions in space-time were approaching the galaxy, warping the very fabric of reality around them. Conventional weapons and defenses would be useless against such a fundamental threat. This is why you developed the Quantum Consciousness Interface. Vorthak, the AI commander of the Vor Empire's contingent, deduced. Its digital consciousness expanded through the shared quantum network, processing the implications. You weren't just advancing technology. You were preparing for this. James nodded, interfacing with the network to share more of humanity's research. We discovered the anomalies 70 years ago, the same time we recovered that crashed scout ship. The ship's sensors had detected them, but its crew hadn't understood what they were seeing. We did. In the space around Earth, the alien fleet was reorganizing. Ships that had been arranged for attack now moved into research configurations. The organic vessels of the Morrigan Collective extended their sensory tendrils, adding their unique perception of quantum states to the growing pool of shared knowledge. Each of our species sees reality differently, Sarah continued. The Arcturians perceive quantum fields through crystalline resonance. The Morrigan's organic ships feel the pulse of space-time itself. Vor-As can process quantum calculations that would take organic brains millennia. Humanity's gift was recognizing that these weren't just different ways of seeing. They were all essential parts of understanding the whole. Through the quantum network, the combined fleet began to detect what humanity had been tracking. The anomalies were more than just distortions. They were wombs in reality itself, places where the fundamental laws of physics were breaking down. And they were spreading. We estimate 3 months before the first anomaly reaches populated space, James shared, his consciousness interfacing seamlessly with both human and alien systems. 6 months before they reach Earth. But that's not the worst part. New data flowed through the network, showing how the anomalies were accelerating. Each breach in reality made the next one more likely, creating a cascade effect that could eventually tear the galaxy apart. This is why you hid your advances, Zixtal realized, his crystalline form pulsing with understanding. You needed us to unite, to combine our knowledge and abilities. But you knew that if you simply told us about the threat, you wouldn't have believed us, Sarah finished. Or worse, you would have believed us but assumed we were too primitive to help. We needed you to see our capabilities firsthand, to understand that we could be equals in this fight. The quantum network hummed with increased activity as more ships and minds joined the collective effort. The Morrigan's organic vessels began adapting their structures to better detect the anomalies. Arcturian crystals resonated in harmony with human quantum fields, creating new ways of perceiving space-time. Vor-As processed the combined data, looking for patterns that organic minds might miss. We're already stronger together than we were separately, James observed, watching as new discoveries and insights flowed through the network. But we'll need to be stronger still. In the space around Earth, the former preservation fleet was transforming. Ships that had been enemies mere hours ago now worked in concert, their diverse technologies combining in ways that none of their creators had imagined possible. The quantum shield network that had defended Earth now extended throughout the fleet, linking all ships and mines in a unified defensive grid. There's something else you need to understand, Sarah transmitted across the network. These anomalies, they're not random. The patterns we've detected, the way they're spreading, there's intelligence behind them. Whatever's coming isn't just a natural phenomenon. It's searching for something. The revelation sent ripples of concern through the quantum network. Each species processed the implications in their own way. The Arcturians through crystalline logic patterns, the Morrigan through organic intuition, the Vor through digital probability analysis. "Then we must learn to fight as one," Zixtal declared, his once hostile fleet now fully integrated with Earth's defense systems. "But how can we prepare for an enemy that breaks reality itself?" Sarah's response carried both weight and hope. "By breaking reality first, but on our terms. Humanity has been developing a theory, one that requires the combined knowledge and abilities of all our species to implement. We're going to rewrite the laws of physics in our favor." Through the quantum network, she began to share humanity's most ambitious plan yet. A strategy that would have seemed like madness just days ago, but now, with the combined wisdom and capabilities of multiple species, might just be possible. The galaxy had united to destroy Earth, only to find that Earth had been preparing to save them all. Transcendence. 3 months passed like lightning as the combined fleet prepared for humanity's audacious plan. The space around Earth had become an unprecedented laboratory of collaboration, where technologies and minds from across the galaxy worked as one through the quantum network. Sarah stood in the command center, now crowded with representatives from every species. Crystalline Arcturians hummed in harmony with Morrigan biotech interfaces, while Vor AI projections flickered between them all. The quantum network had evolved beyond its original design, becoming something new, just as they all had. "The first anomaly will reach the Orion arm in 6 hours," James announced, his consciousness merged with both human and alien systems. "Are we ready?" The response came not in words, but in a surge of unified purpose through the quantum network. Every ship, every mind, every piece of technology was aligned for what they were about to attempt. Humanity's plan had seemed impossible at first, deliberately creating a controlled reality breach to counter the approaching anomalies. But with the combined knowledge and capabilities of all species, impossible had become inevitable. "What we're about to attempt will rewrite the fundamental laws of physics in this region of space," Sarah transmitted across the network. "Every species here has contributed something essential. Arcturian crystal matrices to stabilize the quantum fields, Morrigan organic tech to sense and adapt to reality fluctuations, Vor processing power to calculate the exact parameters, and humanity's understanding of quantum consciousness to bind it all together." High Admiral Zixtal, who had once led the fleet to destroy Earth, now stood as one of its strongest allies. "To think we nearly eliminated the very species that would show us how to transcend our limitations. The galaxy would have been doomed." The displays showed the approaching anomaly, a wound in reality that consumed everything in its path, breaking down the very laws of physics. But now they understood what it was searching for. The intelligence behind the anomalies was seeking worlds where consciousness had evolved to manipulate quantum states. It had been drawn to their galaxy by humanity's experiments with quantum consciousness technology. "All ships in position," James reported. "Quantum field generators at full power. Reality anchor points established." Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the combined consciousness of thousands of beings through the network. Begin the sequence. Across the solar system, the transformed preservation fleet moved in perfect coordination. Ships arranged themselves in complex geometric patterns, their combined technologies creating overlapping fields of quantum manipulation. The plan was elegant in its audacity. They would use the quantum nature of consciousness itself to redefine the laws of physics in their favor. The first phase began as Arcturian crystals resonated in perfect harmony, creating a lattice of quantum stability throughout the target zone. Morrigan vessels extended their organic sensors, feeling the pulse of space-time and adjusting the field in real time. Vor eyes processed trillions of calculations per second, predicting and correcting for every possible variation. And through it all, humanity's quantum consciousness network provided the key ingredient: intent. The combined will of every being in the fleet, focused through their understanding of quantum mechanics, began to reshape reality itself. The approaching anomaly struck their prepared zone of space. For a moment, Everything seemed to hang in perfect balance. Then something unprecedented happened. The quantum fields they had generated didn't just stop the anomaly. They began to communicate with it. Through the quantum network, they could sense the intelligence behind the reality breaches. It wasn't hostile, as they had feared. It was curious, searching for others who had discovered the quantum nature of consciousness. The anomalies were its way of testing whether species were ready for contact. This is what we were preparing for, Sarah realized. Her consciousness expanded through the network. Not just to fight them, to understand them. The quantum fields pulsed with new purpose, no longer trying to stop the anomaly, but to shape it, to create a bridge between two fundamentally different ways of existing. The combined fleet's technology, powered by the unified consciousness of multiple species, began to stabilize a permanent quantum interface. Through this interface, they made first contact with beings from another reality entirely, entities of pure quantum consciousness who had evolved far beyond physical form. The knowledge they shared would transform every species in the galaxy. "We did it," James said softly, watching as the quantum interface stabilized. "But this is just the beginning, isn't it?" Sarah nodded, feeling the excitement rippling through the quantum network. "Everything we've accomplished. Learning to work together, combining our technologies, understanding quantum consciousness. It was all preparation for this moment. We're ready to take our first steps into a larger universe." High Admiral Zixel's crystalline form glowed with new purpose. "And we will take those steps together, as equals. The Preservation Fleet will be renamed. From this day forward, we are the Unity Fleet, dedicated not to destroying threats but to exploring possibilities." Through the quantum interface, information began to flow both ways. The entities shared knowledge of realities beyond imagination, while the combined fleet shared the unique perspectives and innovations that had emerged from their collaboration. What had begun as an attempt to destroy Earth had become the catalyst for the galaxy's transcendence. In the command center, Sarah smiled as she watched the quantum displays show ships from every species moving out into formation, ready to explore what lay beyond the boundaries of their universe. The galaxy had united to destroy Earth, but Earth had shown them a better way. Now, united in purpose and understanding, they were ready to embark on humanity's greatest adventure, proving that consciousness, in all its forms, was the key to unlocking the true potential of the universe. "All ships ready for quantum jump," James announced. "The entities are providing coordinates for their reality." Sarah looked around at the representatives of every species, once enemies, now fellow explorers. "Then let's not keep them waiting. Unity Fleet, engage quantum drive. Let's go see what's out there." As the fleet prepared to make its first journey into a new reality, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. The galaxy had indeed united, not to destroy, but to create, to explore, to transcend. And that, she realized, had been humanity's greatest contribution of all, showing that the path to advancement lay not in domination, but in cooperation, understanding, and the endless possibilities that emerged when different minds worked as one. The quantum drive engaged, and the Unity Fleet jumped into history, carrying with it the combined hopes, dreams, and potential of every species in the galaxy. The adventure that lay ahead would reshape their understanding of existence itself, and they would face it together, as one unified civilization, ready to take its place among the quantum beings who had been waiting for them all along.